Hello everybody, welcome back to Ramblings of the South Stand, and I have had a nightmare. And the reason behind me having a nightmare is because I've just done a stream for an hour and 7 minutes, and it's just deleted itself. So, fantastic. So, what I'm going to do for you guys, I'm going to go over all my points again. If you'd love to like the video, I got something like 75 likes in that video, so I'm absolutely gutted. It took a long time for me to get out, so I'm going to go over the key points now, get over the post-match, talk to you a little bit about Spygate, talk to you a little bit about the transfer, so let's get into it. Spygate, the good, the bad and the ugly. We had Tancredi Palmieri, who is a European journalist, he's a European outlet, very respected guy. You've also got Gary Neville and a host of journalists basically professing to the fact that there's no deal, there's no issue. Who cares? No one's that bothered about the whole Spygate saga. But, of course, because it's a British ethos, we're disrespecting the British game. It's all bringing the British game into disrepute, and it's not with the utmost good faith. I think that's what the 3.4 rule stipulation is in the FA Guideline Handbook. Something like that, which nobody knows about, nobody reads. It's been taken out of context, and that vague little bullet point is being exploited into something massive, which is pathetic, and it's what everybody's saying. Everybody's talking about it and saying that there's nothing really to it, but there's people like the stereotypical footballers like Big Fat Frank Lampard, you've got Keown, you've got Henry Winter as well, who's a journalist, who I did sort of respect before this, but Jermaine Genius as well, and also the lovely and commendable broadcast Moose, who's been on the end of some fantastic comments such as Bielsa doesn't reinvigorate the youth at Leeds and just stuff like that, you know, talking about Bielsa when his bench yesterday was 18 and Eddie Boothroyd, the under-23s manager, and Gareth Southgate was at the game the other day, yesterday. How many games does the England manager frequent? Not that many, Bruce, broadcast Moose, does he? So, yeah, might as well just call you Bruce because no one really cares about your actual name. So it's just one of those where you've got the good, the bad and the ugly. You've got some respected people as well, like Tancredi, Neville, Carragher, amongst others, as well as Oliver Holt, who's a very good journalist who was speaking yesterday. And just saying on a tweet, was he saying, is there anything actually wrong with it? Is there anything actually wrong with it? Is there a rule there? There isn't a rule there, really, and it's a stipulation which is just there so that people hold other clubs with the utmost respect and utmost good faith, which is just sportsmanlike behaviour. Yes, maybe Bielsa did something a little bit wrong, but to say there's a 9-point deduction or a 6-point deduction or a 3-point deduction, it's just absolutely outrageous, and which is why Jermaine Genius's comments were completely left field, completely uneducated, completely ill-informed, and completely unprofessional, really, because he's not done his research. And I feel like Bielsa's a scapegoat. He's from the continent. The British media don't really know anything about him. He's come with his different methods. He's got a team, a Leeds United team who finished 13th last season with the existing squad to first in the table. How has he done that? That's a bit strange. Oh, he must have gone in and cheated. He must have done this, that and the other. Bearing in mind, Pochettino said it was absolutely fine, said he's done it for numerous clubs. Fergie actually did it when he sent a helicopter over City's ground. And more ironically, Nigel Pearson's actually done it with a drone at Derby when Mel Morris was questioned about it as well. The existing chairman who's there now, who Andrea Radrazani had to contact and apologise to. So that's how pathetic and pedantic it is, and I think the reason behind it is A, because it's Leeds, and B, because it's Marcelo Bielsa. This is a Frank Lampard as well, who's going on about it as if it's it's the end of the world, and that was the only reason Leeds really beat Derby. I feel like it's sort of triggering a lot of Leeds fans because they're not talking about the football enough, especially from Lampard's camp. I feel like they're sort of issuing a lot of warnings to Leeds never been able to do this again and sorts of stuff, even though it happens throughout Europe, throughout South America, but you can't do that in Britain. You can't do that with the British game because the British game has ethics, and we don't accept cultural diversity and different ways of doing things because we have to do things the exact same way as we've done it for the past 60 or 100 years, which is just, I think it's pedantic and pathetic, to be honest. But the only difference is Bielsa admitted it. And the ironic thing is Frank Lampard was there when Andre Villas-Boas used to compile dossiers on opposition lineups throughout Europe. He did it on Inter Milan as well under Mourinho, where he used to go and spy on opposition camps. Mourinho, for instance, Frank Lampard was in the camp when Mourinho was wheeled in under a bin, allegedly, and he delivered his halftime talk when he was banned from the matchday squad. So all this sort of high moral ground thing from Frank Lampard starts to irritate me a little bit in Derby County Football Club. The fans are great. I think I utmost respect the fans. I've had Keown on the channel, but the whole club of Derby at the minute is started sort of starting to irritate a lot of Leeds fans because they're not talking about what happens on the pitch. I rate Derby on the pitch. I think they're a very good team on the pitch, but it's all about off-the-field antics, how off-the-field antics affected your club and how you played yesterday. It's just absolute rubbish because yesterday, Bielsa releases his lineup about 3 or 4 days beforehand anyway. Tells you the injuries, tells you the suspension, tells you what's going on, tells you what they're having for breakfast. He does it all the time. So we're not gaining anything from going and putting a player outside Derby's camp. You're gaining something from Bielsa at the end of the day, and it's been all blown out of proportion. It happens throughout Europe, which has been alluded to by a lot of footballers who've come online, like Carragher and Neville, for instance. Are just ones I'm thinking on the top of my head. You know, Jonathan Walters came out and said it as well. So it happens all the time. So why are Leeds being scapegoated? You know, it doesn't make sense. Why Bielsa? Why Leeds? I think it is because of those 2 stipulations which the FA seem to always have an issue with, and the EFL. But moving on to the game anyway, I don't really want to go on about the British media anymore because we know how embarrassing they really are. But wow, best game I've seen all season. We dominated from start to finish. I called for Clark to start. He starts, and what does he do? Absolutely phenomenal. From moment 1, Leeds were on the offensive. Moment 1, we were brilliant. And Lampard couldn't cope with us. He'd not adapted anything. They didn't look any different to what they did before. They actually looked worse because they had a spell at the start of the game at Pride Park where I thought Derby were the better team, but they came yesterday and they had nothing. Wayward shots on goal. The only thing they really had was that Dwayne Home penalty incident, which I'll get onto in a bit. Hernandez, huge boots to fill if he hadn't have been playing, but he did play and he was absolutely phenomenal. And another one who came in, Liam Cooper. Arguably him and Pontus Jansson, the best centre-half partnership in the Championship, this division. And that's why it's brilliant, because when Berardi comes back, we've got all these fantastic issues now, because we're going into February, March, we've got all these players who are coming back into the fold. Izzy Brown, Berardi, Dallas, you know, players of that ilk, Bamford, who come in, and when they come in, they prove a point. Bamford scoring against Bolton. Douglas, when he's come in before and put in stellar performances. You know, and then you've got Cooper who puts in a performance like he did last night alongside Jansen. They were brilliant, and there is no coincidence that Leeds got a clean sheet there last night because they were solid from moment 1 to moment 90, offensively and defensively. Forshaw, wow. Criticism for him in the last couple of games, of course. I think a lot of Leeds fans have been a little bit off with Forshaw in the last couple of games. I don't know what's going on with him at the minute, but he just put in the complete midfield performance. The dynamic, pragmatic midfielder that we signed stepped up a level. That was Premier League class, that midfield performance. Kept Tom Lawrence and Evans completely quiet. Was absolutely brilliant in that midfield role and kept Leeds ticking over. Kept breaking up any attacks Derby had. Screened that 4 absolutely brilliantly. And Phillips, for me, that was the best midfield performance of the season from Forshaw last night. So does Phillips get back in if Forshaw keeps playing like that? It's a brilliant problem to have, but does he get back in? I'm not 100% sure. Of course, he's been fantastic, Calvin Phillips, but if Forshaw plays like that week in, week out, I don't think you can put Phillips back in because he was that good. Then also you move on to Alioski, who was an absolute joke last night. He was phenomenal. And that left-back position is his, isn't it? You know, it's like if you put Douglas into a left-wing position. Why would you put Douglas there? Because he never plays there. Well, Alioski's never played left-wing apart from at Leeds. For Lugano, and for Macedonia, he's played left wing back. That's his position. And we saw Alioski in his main position last night. And how good was he? Absolutely phenomenal. That's the best left back performance I've seen all season as well. Better than any performance Douglas has put in. It gives us a nice problem to have because we now have quality and depth in that area, which we've not had in years. Kimar, oozing class. Donkey Keogh couldn't handle him, could he? Donkey bright-eyed Keogh just boots the ball left field, right field. Can't deal with it. I felt sorry for Tomori alongside Keogh. Absolutely shocking defender. And Kimar had him on toast the whole game. Had him worried. Had Keogh panicking. Jack Harrison got the goal and I was so happy for him. I was absolutely buzzing for him. Absolutely buzzing for him because he deserved that and it's going to do his confidence a world of good. His performances increased against Forest and he was brilliant again last night. But Clark ran them silly. I'd like to do a montage on this boy because he's that good. He did an absolute job on every single Derby fullback. They couldn't concern him. This boy is going to the stars, ladies and gentlemen. He's that good. He is going to the stars and he ain't coming back. He's absolutely phenomenal and we need to enjoy him as long as we can because I don't think we're going to have him forever unless we get into the Premier League and that Champions League. He is just phenomenal. He's on a different level. He blows anything out of the water that I've ever seen, including Delph and Milner. But Derby never got to grips with him. They never got to grips with Forshaw. They never got grips with any Leeds player. Not one moment did we falter. Bailey still made me nervous, I will say. Bailey, the one time he came out, weirdly, the Green Lantern sort of came from out of nowhere, and he tried, when Cooper and Jansen were alongside Dave Nugent and he wasn't really going anywhere, the Green Lantern came out of absolutely nowhere and got very, very lucky. And also with the Dwayne Holmes thing, I'm not here to scapegoat Bailey because I'm one of his actual supporters. And when he comes out, you sort of think he's going to leave his knee up to maintain balance, but he leaves a foot out and he's looking at him, so he's quite lucky to stay on the field there. But the referee was absolutely shocking throughout. The Alioski one should have been a penalty. I think Andre Wisdom should have been sent off as well for that tackle on Alioski. It was reckless, it was off the ground, and he got both feet round him. It was a shocking tackle, and Derby did that throughout. There's a fair few tackles. Waghorn as well. Tom Lawrence with another reckless one on Harrison. Waghorn obviously on Jansen at the end, but they definitely came, and Lampard didn't leave anything in the change room. He told them to go out on the field and really leave the mark on Leeds. So, people calling out for dirty Leeds, but I feel during that game as well, Derby were pretty ruthless physically wise, but they didn't get to grips with us, and they had to do that. Take it as a compliment. It's 6-1 on aggregate. 6-1 on aggregate, Leeds Derby now. So it's one of those things where you've just sort of got to take it as a compliment. They can't deal with this, so the kicker's on the floor. And I think you saw that from Carson afterwards when he came out and said how good we were. They looked defeated. They looked completely subject to whatever Leeds were going to do to them in both games now. I mean, can we play Derby every week? That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But a special thanks to Elland Road, and a special thanks to you guys who A, support the channel, and B, go to Elland Road and make it what it is on match days. I mean, yesterday was phenomenal. It's one of the best I've seen. Absolutely phenomenal. The scarf waving, the chants, the 12th man, and Cooper said he stood back and looked round at one point and thought what a special club this was. But transfer news, Kiko Casilla, 17 appearances for Real Madrid last season, including their loss to Spurs at Wembley. What a signing. Can play with his feet, commanded. His decision making is on point. He's an absolutely brilliant goalkeeper. Plays the Bielsa way. He's going to seamlessly fit in to that Argentinian/Spanish style at the club. He's going to fit in absolutely seamlessly, and I'm so excited. Someone of Casilla's sort of influence and his stature. He's been at Real Madrid pretty much the whole of his career, which is a statement and says it's paramount to how good this guy is and what a coup it is for Leeds. I don't know much, but from what I've been told, there are 2 or 3 more coming in, and Casilla will be done and will be announced by Wednesday. So what a positive that is to have, and he could even feature for Stoke. So what excellent prospects. Injured players coming back within the next month. Leeds getting transfers in. Just because you don't see them on social media, guys, don't think that nothing's going on, because I can tell you for one, it is. Top of the league with a squad that isn't fully fit. See the positives. We are top of the league. What a fantastic performance. We go into Stoke next week, top of the league, top of the pile, get in Leeds. Yes!